Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in Christian existentialism in the novel by Reine entitled She Died, Then Showed Me. We're going to look at chapter 18. It's a very good chapter, and we'll look at it in 3 moments. Let's go to block 1 and get started. Okay, block 1, an unusual trinity. And the unusual trinity we're going to talk about in this chapter is Peyton in herself, and then Peyton will go out of herself in the very hopeful Coda, and then Peyton will return to herself through the lifting up of the secular Margot. Coda expresses to Peyton the desire to travel. Peyton tells Coda, in this life, you need to decide what is right for you while at the same time considering others. Peyton then asks Coda to accompany her on the trip to Mendocino. Margot calls Peyton and asks to meet the two of them in Mendocino herself. Now, Ashton meets Peyton at the airport when she lands, not what she expected. Now, they drive to Peyton's home in Mendocino, and it's situated on a cliff overlooking the endless horizon of the ocean. Think of that existentially. Think of that as a metaphor. It's a yellow and white Victorian house, and this is an existentially meaningful metaphor for Peyton. With its unknown, endless horizon, we never know for certain what the future holds for us, and many times we have to step out in faith toward an unknown future horizon, but we do so with hope, with a Coda type hopefulness. So we've got an unusual trinity there in block 1. Now, block 2 is always the key, and block 2, the head and the heart must inform each other. We know that. If you're going to be an authentic self, it isn't knowledge of the mind that's going to define an authentic self, an authentic Christian, caring, compassionate self. No, it's going to be a wisdom of the heart, which in Greek is Sophia wisdom. Gnosis is wisdom of the mind. Sophia is wisdom of the heart. And what we need to acquire is both in dialogue, but especially Sophia wisdom of the heart. With regard, this communication must take place with regard to planting existential seed. Peyton had done additional planting in her garden at the Mendocino home, and she said it was planting for future good fortune. She opens the windows to air out the home, and a flower arrangement is already placed on the kitchen island. And it's there because Ashton had previously entered her home, and without her permission, and Peyton speaks out. When she sees this, she tells Ashton, when will you respect my boundaries? I mean, we have to establish boundaries in our life when we are trying to define a true, authentic self. That includes an establishment of boundaries that we want to maintain with diligence and resilience. We want to resolve to define meaningful boundaries. With regard to boundaries to prevent compromise, the perennials still flourished on the balconies because of their resilience, says Peyton. Ashton confesses that he wants to make another go of it, but Peyton's resilience allows her head to veto the heart, at least for the time being. So it's no. and she wants to establish boundaries to prevent falling back into the compromise of the old self. She's not interested in being that compromised old self anymore. All right, so we have that dialogue between the head and the heart with regard to faithful resilience. Ashton, Peyton, and Coda all go out for dinner, and they're at a restaurant terrace with a view of the setting sun over the ocean. So it's a beautiful setting, and they're out there having dinner on a restaurant terrace. And Coda confesses, hopeful Coda, the water looks like gold. Peyton then intercepts the waiter, and she pays the check rather than allowing Ashton to do so. Next, they go to the Big River Beach, and Peyton focuses, I love this, Peyton focuses on Coda and on Coda's anticipatory gaze of wonder. Love that. I love this character because think of this. Coda doesn't travel, so he's traveling for one of the first time he's ever seen the ocean, and he's looking at the ocean with a golden sunset, and so he's got this gaze of wonder, this gaze of awe, and Peyton's very drawn to this. Because this anticipation of wonder and awe, it's very much a part of her own hope for her future reframed, authentic self. So I really do love the fact that the author, Reine, has Peyton drawn to Coda, not drawn to Ashton, but drawn to Coda and his anticipatory gaze of wonder over an ocean that looks like gold. That is so beautifully said. I love that. Okay, Block 3. This lesson is all about Block 3. First comes tearing down, then comes rebuilding your authentic, compassionate, and caring self. Tearing down. Ashton approaches Peyton on the beach to rekindle their romance, and Peyton says, "I'm too good to simply become your mistress." Ashton says he will get a divorce. He keeps saying that over and over again, but he never does it. Peyton says to herself that she is torn. She's torn down. And this is a good thing. I mean, she's torn down. She's not going to go back to that compromise of the old self. That old self has been torn down. And now she wants to set up boundaries that must be respected, because those boundaries prevent her from compromise. And she's torn. And I say she's actually torn down. But you need that before rebuilding and reframing an authentic, caring, compassionate self. Intimacy at the price of illegitimacy. Peyton says she has no interest in being the imposter wife. She has no interest in being the mistress. She says no to being the copy of another woman. She's not the copy of her mother with regard to art. She's not going to be the copy of another woman as a mistress. She will not be an imposter again. She will not become the old self. The old self is torn down. The old self is nailed to the cross. She intends to tear down the old self and affirm an authentic, compassionate, and caring self. A true, existential, authentic self shall be affirmed. And she's not going to exist simply as a catalyst for Ashton's change in his life. Peyton confesses that she wants genuine love, genuine stability, and a genuine feeling of home. And she no longer wants to feel illegitimate. Coda later approaches Peyton and says, "You go from being Broco, the spirited one, to becoming lightning, the one on edge. And Peyton says it's because that she's currently in this stage of being torn down and rebuilding. She's in a tension caught between a desire for love, but at the same time, a determination for true love and true commitment. She will not simply exist as a catalyst for Ashton to change his life. She has a higher, authentic life to affirm, and it's an authentic existential life of being a caring and compassionate person of genuine, loving spirit. And this lesson, chapter 18, is all about first comes tearing down, then comes rebuilding. First comes the tearing down and the crucifixion of the old self before we rebuild the resurrecting new self. And in the middle of that, there are challenges, there are tensions, there are people who invade the boundaries that you establish. There are people that infiltrate those boundaries and try to lure you toward compromise. So it's not easy. It's a struggle to maintain the authenticity of being a genuine, caring, compassionate human being, a true, authentic, existential self. And it means you're going to tear down that old illegitimate self. You're going to affirm a true agape type, sacrificial love type of new existential self. So first comes tearing down, then comes rebuilding. This lesson is all about tearing down the old self and rebuilding a new self. And it's all about Peyton in herself, and then Peyton going out of herself in the symbolic meaning of a hopeful coda who looks out over the ocean in an anticipatory gaze of wonder. I just love that. The ocean looks gold. He's filled with a gaze of wonder, and Peyton is drawn to coda. She's drawn to that gaze of awe, that gaze of wonder. And in a very innocent, humble character, coda. So I really do love that. But the Trinity was three persons, Peyton in herself, Peyton going out of herself in hopeful coda, and then Peyton will return to herself through the lifting up of the very secular Margot, but we didn't get Margot introduced into this chapter, but we will anticipate that because she is on her way there in Mendocino. And I'm very impressed with chapter 18. There's so much existential importance in this chapter. We all go out of ourselves in hope, in that gaze of wonder. But we have to work through lifting up the new self through the secular world that tries to force us into compromise, the secular world that tries to invade our boundaries, to infringe upon our boundaries and trying to coax us and tempt us into compromise. And good for Peyton, she stands firm. She will not be the old compromised self, the old illegitimate self. She's on a journey to reframe and redefine her own authentic, existential, caring, and compassionate self. That's going to wrap up a very powerful chapter 18, and next time we're going to do two chapters. We're going to go 19 and 20, 214 to 241 next time. 214 to 241, 19 and 20. This wraps up a very powerful, very, very powerful chapter 18. First comes tearing down, then comes the rebuilding of the new self.